Welcome to the StockMiner.com studios. I'm your StockMiner, Brian Johnson. And another flat day in the markets, but as long as this thing continues to consolidate and move sideways and not down, still got to be neutral to bullish in this area. Still cautiously bullish, and yet still bullish. We've had scenarios like this before where things have creeped up for weeks at a time. Maybe this is the same type of scenario. Don't know yet. Haven't broken all of these overhead resistance levels yet. But we are sure sneaking our way up onto them very, very slowly as it is. Dow, I'm looking at a daily here, and you can see where we close, 10,595. If I step back and look at the 60-minute, you can see, look at this consolidation, doing nothing but moving sideways. This is really just an ascending triangle. Got somewhat of a break in the afternoon. Certainly nothing, nothing definite here, as we kind of saw a little bit of bullish action. Now, there are things going on after hours. RIM is reporting, so the earnings ought to be interesting. Apple, and we'll get to that in a second. I don't know if you guys saw this towards the end of the day, but wow. I mean, Apple had an incredibly strong run up. So that'll be one to talk about today as we get to it in the video. But the Dow, you see, still kind of lagging behind here. Not even at these overhead levels quite yet, which is where a lot of the other indices are at. Especially, more importantly, the Dow or the Nasdaq already above it. The S&P right up to it and sitting there waiting for its next move. So here we are back to the daily, and you can see what we're looking at. 10,720-ish or so for that overhead level. We'll see if it can't creep up there, and maybe even see a gap in the morning that would push us up into that area. If this action continues into the end of tomorrow, I would tell you that I would not expect to see anything too different come Monday morning. Next week, I was looking ahead at some economic data, and we do have the Fed talking about rates on Tuesday. So Tuesday afternoon, the Fed speaks. What is he going to do? Nothing. He's not going to do anything. But the markets like to, in most cases, they like to kind of run up into those type of reports. So we'll see if this continues into tomorrow, and keep your eye on that overhead level there on the Dow. Nasdaq on a 60 saw the nice pop up to the 1948 area, holding this blue line very, very nicely as it proceeds upwards. Look at this incredible run by the NDX 100. Just lots and lots of strength, breaking that 1940 mark, and then it was off to the races from that point forward. As you can see, up another 8 points past that. I'm really looking at this level here, right where it closed, very logical level to see it stop at. But anything up and over this 1950-ish mark, from a daily perspective, maybe into the 1975, that 1980 area that we had been talking about yesterday. Weekly, breaking this overhead upper resistance level. That is huge for the bulls. Look what happened when it did it the last time. It just worked its way up and up and up and up right into the 2000 area. Let's see if that will continue as well here on the Nasdaq. Things seem a little bit slower up here, but I'll tell you, we are still seeing good strength by the bulls, able to break this area back here. And so let's see what we get in tomorrow's trading with reports on RIM and such coming out tonight. SPX did break its blue line, but holding sideways, so maybe we see a retest of the underside of this. As a 60-minute chart, you can see the candles will slowly head their way to the right as this thing moves, leaving us with what? Maybe an overhead area of that 1130-ish area we've been watching very closely. From a daily, you can see that's right up here in that big inverse head and shoulders everybody keeps talking about. Now that everybody's talking about it, I don't like it very much. I just don't trust it. So be careful. Like I said, be very careful with your long positions, but it does not mean don't continue to go long, even though we haven't gone anywhere. We didn't go anywhere here either, and look what happened. We broke down. But as a chartist, I just do what the charts are telling me, and I have to remain neutral to bullish in this area. This is just a high base formation. It's a high base formation. I have to treat it as such. Those are bullish. So until we break back down below basically the 200-day or even below that, 1110 or so, I have to treat this as a high base until otherwise broken. This is starting to creep up and over this area too, looking at that nice left shoulder, head, right shoulder, if you want to look at these inverse head and shoulder type things. It's getting to the point where it's starting to break too. NASDAQ has already done it, SPX, and then maybe the Dow to follow. Very well could be. It's not uncommon to see that happen in that progression, and it's nice from a trader standpoint. If you can see the NASDAQ do it and the S&P do it, it's not uncommon to see the Dow eventually follow, and because it hasn't done it already, it gives you a leg up. Allows you to really watch that and get in on some pretty decent trades at that point. VIX still struggling, managing it. It was down today, but really it's just kind of working its way sideways here. If you're going to take this from a technical analysis standpoint, it can drop all the way down here, even to the 20 level and below, because of this lower blue line. Lots of room for the VIX to move to the downside, meaning that there's still plenty of room for the market to move to the upside and not really affect the VIX in any bad way, as it were, where we get a lot of, okay, well, now what are we going to see with the VIX down here and the market's up there and whatever. It can all move the way it should. It can all move in tandem with one another and still have a very nice move down in the VIX with a very big move up in the markets. So once again, the VIX is in no place to give us any kind of indication of up or down. No matter what other sites might say, some people are looking at the VXX and they're wondering, how far down can this go? It can go to 0. That's the way stocks work. It can. It can go as low as 0. It won't, but it could. So always keep that in your mind, that calling bottoms is a very, very dangerous thing. So be very careful with the VIX down here, and watch it as it moves into the end of the week. I don't know if I expect to see a big move one way or the other. If anything, wouldn't be surprised to maybe even see it move down a little bit more by the end of the week and finishing kind of, a little gravestone doji maybe, because there is room for the VIX to move to the downside. Here is Apple. $6.35 up today, up almost 2.5% even after this huge run. This is an incredible move in Apple. Sometimes Apple, and this is picture perfect for Apple. It gets a mind of its own, and it does not care what the rest of the markets are doing. It does its own thing, and look at the volume coming in. Now, people are going to attribute it to news. There were some news articles that were put out today on Apple. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. There's something else going on here in Apple. I don't care that they're shipping in South America and Peru and Bolivia. I don't care. That makes no difference. You don't think that investors didn't already know that? Like today was the first day that they were made aware of the fact that they were going to... No, it doesn't work that way. There's something else going on here. And you and I, the little guy, we don't know about it yet. But somebody knows something here. That is huge volume coming in on Apple and pushing this thing straight upwards. So one to watch very carefully now over the next few days to see, what we get out of Apple. Look at this from a daily. Look at that huge candle. Once we broke above those levels I was telling you guys about, it was off to the races. Great opportunities to get long. I would have never expected this kind of a move in Apple after this kind of a move already. I'll give you that. But once we broke these overhead levels, those are my areas to go long. If any of you took that or have been following along, we've had lots of opportunities at great trades in Apple. So if you've been following me for just that reason alone, you've been doing very, very well. Look at the volume today. An incredible run up in Apple. Very, very strong right now. From a weekly, even starting to potentially break its way up and over this. Now, my more conservative level is up over 280, so we'll see if it gets there, but man, very, very strong. If Apple pulls back tomorrow, look for it to close at or just below this particular line right here. That might all change depending on earnings by RIM. Now, no reason to think that RIM isn't going to kill earnings. So don't be surprised if we wake up tomorrow to a 5 to 8% move up on RIM. I just think, coming into earnings season, this is just the way these things tend to play out. So if RIM reports well, which I expect it's going to, then maybe this is just a front run to what we're going to see in the rest of the tech stocks, Google and Apple and all the rest of them. So as I said, we see a big move tomorrow morning in RIM, which I fully expect we will. Then watch for Apple to continue this monster run up as well. So could get very bullish in this area here, and it might be stimulated by the tech stocks. That's one to be watching for sure. FAS on a 60-minute, just floundering around back here. Notice how we came back up and touched that blue line, but look, we didn't go anywhere. We didn't all of a sudden hit that blue line and drop. I like to see it, break, and then it comes back up and retests, and then it kind of starts a descent. Nothing yet. That I've got to be bullish. Got to be bullish up here on this particular move. Anything above 2250, guys, 2275, good areas to see it to the long side. Might be some really good opportunities for trades tomorrow based on that. Look at this tiny little, that is a pullback. That is a pullback. Got to treat it as such. For those of you that are looking for maybe a little bit more longer-term trade, up over 23, a good place to look to get long there. Definitely a good entry. Not sure I'd hold over the weekend, but completely up to you if you want to hold a little bit of it over the weekend. And if we get above 23 and continue on a run up, then I would say why not. FAZ on a 60-minute looking to fall down. Same type of scenario here. It's pulling back. This is a bear flag. Any drop below 1280 still takes you lower, so I'd be watching that. And up over here is your long entry. Okay, that's it, guys. Watch RIM earnings. I'm expecting them to absolutely destroy earnings and be up probably somewhere between 5 and 8% come morning time, and that could affect the rest of the markets. I'll be back with you again tomorrow night. Bye.